Hi guys, welcome back. So we are going to attempt to do some Northern Lights coasters. Um, a couple things. The first thing I did, and I actually poured these yesterday, was do a thin layer of black. These are actually like a whole cake pan mold that I got on Amazon. It's actually a 6-piece. So I just cut them individually and made individual coasters. As you can see, these are really thick. Like if I were to pour this whole thing, it'd take 4 ounces, but man, they'd be thick. I did write on the bottom as a reminder, full is 4 ounces, 2 makes half. The first layer, it's an ounce in each coaster. It's just black. Poured it yesterday. I didn't record it and figured that'd be pretty boring. All you guys see is a layer of black being poured. No biggie. So I have the resin mixed up. So we're going to get going. These are done in layers. I'm trying to approach these like I would a wall art, which I do. I do try to do those in layers. So we're going to see if we can do those in the coasters and see what happens. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get some clear in, and then we'll talk about colors and get those mixed up. Again, I'm trying to keep the layers relatively thin because I don't want, I don't want coasters this thick. They'd be pretty gargantuan and kind of clunky, really. So I'm just going to put some clear in here. And we'll get it stretched around on what we have already. So again, it's really thin layers of clear, probably, maybe there's about a half an ounce that's going to go into each one for just this clear. And again, I'm just going to kind of move this around and stretch it over the coaster. Just, I don't know, approaching it kind of like I do when I do wall art and I try to, work in layers to make things. So again, just kind of stretching it around the coaster. Hopefully this will turn out without too much of a mess. So see, it's a super thin layer. Just trying to move it all around. Might have to scrape the container, get a little more into this guy, I think. Let's see, there we go. Just a little bit more. I mean, could I probably do it in thicker layers? Yeah, but I guess it's just gonna depend on how thick you want that end coaster to be. All right, so that's kind of in there. Really good. Let's see. Scrape the stick, try not to waste any. Get everything in there we can. Okay, so I'm gonna use the heat gun, get that good and warm, get some of the bubbles out. Okay, so for the colors on this next layer, we're gonna use Picasso Midnights, Picasso Flamingo, and this cool stuff, this resin art, Purple Galaxy. This stuff is awesome, but a little bit goes a very long way. So I have just 3 little cups mixed up here. This one has the more in it, so we're gonna use the Midnight Blue. I like these Picassos because they got this little shaker. So it's, and just kind of tap it and shake it out in there. So I'm just going to start with a little bit in there and see. Hopefully I stir this gently and don't get a big old poof of color in my face. All right, so we'll mix it up real well. Oh, how much fun watching somebody mix color in. But I kind of wanted to start here so you guys can see more rather than just jump right in and have everything mixed. All right, I like that color. So let's close that because I'm klutzy and I'll make a mess. Now we'll do some of the pink. Like I said, I really don't. I like the little shaker bottles. We'll see how that turns out. I don't know if you guys can hear my dog barking. He's mad. He's in his kennel. He wants to be out here. So we'll mix up. Again, this is Flamingo Pink. All right, I'm liking that. We'll close it up. All right, onto this Galaxy Purple. Like I said, this stuff is so, it's like my new thing. I'm in love with this. But a little bit goes a really, really long way. So I'm just gonna barely get my stick in there. And it's cool. It comes out kind of like these flakes. Almost looks like a glitter, if you will. I mean, you guys can see I'm like barely any in there. So I'm gonna give it a stir, but look how much that changes like instantly. Just kind of dissolves and changes, and I don't know. I just think it's super cool. Ta-da. All right. Isn't it pretty? It sparkles so much. I love that stuff. All right, so we'll start with the blue, and we'll go from there. So we're gonna, I know down here I kind of want it more of what would be like the landscape or like a tree line. So I'm not gonna run this all the way down. I'm gonna kind of start it up here a little, you know, maybe just a little under half, maybe at half, I don't know. Oh, my little doggy is mad. He thinks he needs to be out here with me. All right. Maybe a little more in this guy. Okay. And then I'm going to take this purple. I'm going to put just above it. And a little, like I said, a little bit of this color goes so far. This purple is pretty intense, but it's so pretty. All right. All right, so I'm gonna take the heat gun, I'm gonna start warming that up and blowing it up into the coaster, and we'll see how it goes. I like it. Smoking. Oops. All right, so I'm also going to use a couple of these little tools just to help kind of move things around. So I'm going to try to put a little more of this purple up in here. And as you guys can tell, the resin is really warm. It's very liquidy at this point in time, but that's okay. Hopefully I won't have to warm it up anymore again. Oh, I need a paper towel. Holy smokes. All right, see that? I almost tripped on a cord. Fell and killed myself. So I'm gonna just, I don't know, I'm gonna try to move this a little bit. Kind of, like I said, a little bit of that purple It's crazy how much uses it. So I'm just kind of moving this up in there. Swirl it a little bit, kind of, I don't know. I don't want to do too much. I don't want to disturb it, but cool thing about working in layers is we can always adjust what we see on this layer with the next one. All right. I love it today here. The birds are chirping. I'm like, oh, spring. Yes, warm weather. Please show up. So we'll move that up in there. Ooh, yay. All right, I'm liking how that's looking. So I think, especially on this guy, I kind of almost made swirl marks too much. So I'm just going to see if we can't maybe lace a little more blue in there. Because I don't want necessarily swirl marks. He needs a little more blue. All right. Try not to smoke anything this time. Okay, that's looking much better. Okay, on to our flamingo pink. So I don't want the pink everywhere. I kind of thinking maybe just kind of like on the side a little bit up through here. We'll see. So let's just a little bit. That's one thing I'm learning about trying to do these in coasters. A little bit does go a very long way. No, you don't need, it doesn't take much. All right, so let's, we'll give it a quick, maybe not on high though. Okay, I like it. So maybe just taking, the hard part about this is trying to make sure you have just, it's like such a light touch to move it. And that's what's kind of crazy is light. Such a gentle, which is actually harder for me than you would think to keep a lighter, gentler touch. Maybe I'll use this guy instead. Just a little, just to try to, oh, that'll work better. Try to move that blue up a little bit. Kind of, ooh, look at there. Just move it around. Spread it out a little more on the coaster. Wow, he is really mad. He is not happy with me. Okay, so there is that layer. So, I don't know. Actually, I fib. We're gonna pull, I do want to pull that blue down just a little bit. Let's see if I can't. Ooh, Yeah, that looks better. I'm liking that. Okay. See? Here I thought I was done messing and I decided I'm gonna mess some more. And again, I'm just trying to barely touch it and just kind of pull it out. Pull it down into this one where it's just more black. And let it move back. And that one. Come on now. Disperse. Yeah, that's getting a way better effect. That's super cool. Again, it's such thin layers that we're working in. Super thin. But I think the really thin layers will help add to a three-dimensional look when we get there. Okay, now I'm gonna quit farting. All right, so this is gonna set for 24 hours. I'm not gonna mess with that. And then tomorrow I'm gonna come back and do another layer. Tomorrow's layer will be more clear, but then I'm gonna add a little bit of the aquamarine and lime and try to make more of the, like the trails you would see with the Northern Lights, you know, so, you know, a stripe of green, the two greens, and then ever so slightly just maybe blow them. There might be maybe a little more, maybe a pink, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how these set up, but there is the start of Northern Lights coasters. So we'll keep our fingers crossed. I'm not gonna add, I for a fleeting moment thought about adding more of the pink, but I'm not gonna do it. I kind of really like the way that looks. So we'll be back tomorrow to add another layer. So I wanted to bring you guys around real quick and give you a close-up of what these are looking like so far. I'm kind of liking it a lot. Excited. All right, I'm gonna get them covered up and we'll proceed tomorrow. So you can see they set up really nice overnight, nice and hard. You can gauge how thick, you know, they are. That's why I'm working in such thin layers, not to try to get them too thick. So I've mixed up the resin and I've got a bunch of the little cups with just, as you can see, a tiny bit in there for these colors we're gonna add. So we need to start by getting a layer of clear on them. So we'll get going on that. And again, it's really thin layers that I'm pouring this in. And again, that's just so the coasters don't become crazy thick and just monstrous, I guess. So I'm just kind of pouring it in the middle, letting it spread out itself a little bit in each one. Again, not putting in too much, really letting it work its way. So then I'll just kind of push this around, and I'll make sure I'm getting all the way into the edges of the mold. Just helping it along, push it out, stretch it. So he can use just a little bit more, so we'll give him a little dollop. So I want it to move to the edges of the mold, but I don't want to have to stretch it too hard, if that makes sense. So I'm just trying to help it a little bit. All right. Just pushing along into the edge of the mold. All right, so a little tiny bit left in the cup. I'm just looking to see, like, okay, could anybody use just a tad bit more? And again, it's such a small amount that you're adding for each layer. but I want to make sure that each has enough of a clear layer that the next layer is going to float on top of it, if you will, so that you can tell that there's dimension, if is the best way I can describe it. So I'm just trying to get the last of the resin out. Okay, so we're gonna let that sit for a second. So in the cups, what I have, we're gonna add a little bit of this pearl pink, the Picasso aquamarine, lime, and we may add a little bit more of that purple galaxy. We'll see. So I'm gonna start mixing up some of the colors. Oh, I get it open. Get it open without sending it flying everywhere. So again, there is such a small amount in this cup. Literally, I'm just adding like the smallest possible dollop of mica powder to start giving it some, because I don't want to add too much and then, you know, mess up the reaction of what this could be, since it's such a tiny amount. Which I really want that to have just a little bit more color, so let me find, this might be a trick. So I'm grabbing the Pinata ink, the Senorita Magenta, and see if I can add just a little bit. I want just a little more vibrant color, but not too much. Ooh, there we go. That's better. I like that. Working in really small quantities. All right, next we'll have the aquamarine. And again, being that these are, if I can open it, little shaker containers, it makes it so easy just to tap a little bit in there to get the color. All right, so I like that. Yep, good with that one. All right, now the lime green. And the lime green has even less than the other one. Maybe, I don't know, is there any left in this cup I can scrape out and maybe give them a little bit more? Look at there, I can. All right. Might as well make it good to the last drop, right? All right, again, so this will be just, hopefully not too much, but I need this really vibrant in order to stand out against that aquamarine. Okay. And I'm okay that this is getting a little bit thicker, and I'll show you why in a second. Oh, hands are getting sticky. All right, wipe them off. Okay, a little bit of that galaxy purple like we did from the other layer. And again, this amount is so minuscule with this stuff. It amazes me the quantity needed to achieve the look. I mean, that's just barely any flakes in there. But watch, as soon as I start stirring it, it just explodes. All right. And if you guys can hear my heater in the background, I apologize. It was just kind of chilly in the garage this morning, so I turned it on. So, all right, let me grab the heat gun. We're gonna do that clear layer we just laid. All right, so let's start adding colors. So I'm gonna add the pink down here because I want to see if we can't blend it up that way a little bit. And again, it's not much we need in here, so hence the very small amount in the cups. Let's try to lay that in there. There we go. So even if I want to add a little more, I'll go back and do it. I'd rather add a very small amount right now and then move it, as compared to adding way too much and then regretting it. Maybe a little more in this guy. Okay. So then we're going to take some of the aquamarine, and I want this to be more part of the light, and then we'll accent it in that lime green. So I think I want it to come, let's see, here. And this one this way. And this guy in that. All right, let's move. This guy needs a little more. All right, let's move those two colors in the coasters on top of that clear. Start on low. So I'm liking how they look. So I'm gonna take this little guy. And I know I want that purple to, well, that pink that we added in there. And I want to move that up a little more. I wanna kind of drag it through here. Just kind of move it a little bit. All right. So maybe just a little bit with that aquamarine we had, just to going back over those lines that we made that didn't blow out a whole lot yet. I'm just gonna hopefully lightly move those a little bit more. All right. So I think I'm good with the pink and the aquamarine. So now we're down to the lime green and the super cool galaxy color. So with the galaxy, I'm just gonna take some on the stick and just a little bit, just mix it in just slightly. I mean, just ever so slight. Up here at the top of the, like that. And fun part about it, it's all interpretive. I mean, you can, you know, whatever comes to mind when you think about making something that looks like the northern lights. All right, that's all I want to put in there. So now we're going to take the green, that lime green we made up, and I just have a really thin, small silicone tip. So I'm going to attempt, we'll see, put it on here, and I just want to kind of accent that marine that we laid. Kind of stretch that in there. Almost kind of like right in the middle where we laid that. Again, so I'll pick up some more of it. I just found using this little tool kind of really helps allow you to, a very small amount, exactly where you kind of want it to go. At least for me. I don't get too heavy-handed. All right, so we'll follow this guy around. Maybe next time, ooh, I'll try doing it with a toothpick. Maybe that would work. My intention is after I lay this and let this start to firm up a little bit, so maybe 30-35 minutes, and this, what's left in the cup, will get really thick too. If I think that this line that we're laying down needs more, I'll come back in, and when it's really thick like that, lay some of that in here. And that way we have a really good thick line if they need it. This may work just fine the way it is. We'll see. But see, just this little pen allows me to really kind of, in a small amount, drag it kind of where I want and place it. And I only discovered that through trial and error, trying to get it to do what I was wanting it to do, and it not necessarily working very well. All right, so I kind of like that. This one, I don't feel like that aquamarine pushed out enough. So let's see. All right. So I'm gonna try to put some of this on the stick, like just a little bit, and maybe blend it in a little bit. But I don't want to go too much because I don't want to cover up that pink that we did from yesterday. I just feel like it could be a little bit better. Now that looks good. Kind of the same with this guy. I think he just needs a little smooching. I don't know, making up words as I go. Just kind of disperse that color in there. Again, it's so personal taste and interpretive to what you think it should look like. I like that. That looks good. Maybe a little off of this guy. So, I mean, you can see there's barely anything on the stick as I'm trying to, I don't know, not make a hot mess of these. Again, just barely trying to, there. Okay, I like that a little bit better. So, I'm gonna take this other end of the tool and just trail, only because I want to, I don't know why, just because they ended in such a sharp or abrupt, I don't know, to kind of trail it off a little more. And again, like I said, it's completely personal preference. I mean, somebody else may look and say, no, it looks just fine, quit monkeying with it. Again, just trail them off just a little bit. It's just one of those nail dotting pens. All right, so really light touch, just try to grab that end and you can pull it wherever you may want it to go. That's the fun part about this little tool, is you really can just move a small amount. Maybe I should quit monkeying with it. Okay. I don't think, yeah, okay, I need to stop. So, I'm gonna let it sit for a little bit and see. I don't think I'm gonna add any more of that green. I think there's probably, I say that, and now I look at a little spot and I'm like, I wonder if I can do something right there with this lime green. Again, I'm just barely trying to pull that through there. Maybe just picking up a little bit on the tip of this. Scoochie it around. Okay, that looks better. So give me a second and I'll bring you guys in for a close-up on these. I don't think I'm gonna need to do any of that lime green again. I think it's contrasting just enough with the aquamarine that I'm happy with that. Let's see, do we like where all the purpley pink is, or do we want to maybe spread it just ever so slightly? What do you think? I know, I said I was done monkeying and here I am still fiddle dinking with it. But again, it's, hopefully you guys can see it on camera, it's such a small, light touch that I'm doing to try and move this. It's crazy how little, especially when you're pouring in super thin layers, it takes to get any of this to move. All right, so drag it up, maybe this way. Give it a wiggle through there. I don't know. Just use your imagination. Okay. Sweet. All right. So there we have it. So I'll bring you in for a close-up. I'm going to let them sit overnight. Then we will take them out of the mold in the morning. Actually, I see some bubbles. Hold on. See if I can get those. A little bit better. There's a few bubbles. So we'll take them out in the morning, and depending on how the edges look, hopefully, don't do two, only one. Hopefully we don't have a ton of bubbles. If we do, then I'll sand all of the top and on the sides and kind of bevel those edges, and then use some liquid latex on the back and then flood coat these. That way, because we did pour in so many layers, make sure we don't have really big bubbles on the end. The whole sanded latex flood coated is going to be new to me. I'm hoping it's going to turn out. I've kind of watched a lot of videos about different people doing it and learning their different techniques and what they're doing, so we'll see. But I'll go ahead and bring you guys in for a close-up, and we'll let them sit overnight again. All right, here we go. Close up in there. Pretty cool, I think. I love how, you know, we just laid this layer, but you can really see the layers before. You know, you can see that popping through, so it kind of gives it that cool dimension. Working in layers is definitely fun.